Is that my long lost friend,
Long lost
Pharmacist
friend.
Ben?
Oops. And I was thinking, AJ, I like the acid house. What is it? Is that what it is? Or I don't know what exactly.
I don't. Becca picked the music. I don't know.
I
Whatever.
like it, but I think we're all old farts here, and we could use some good old 70s rock and roll.
70s rock and roll, like
Can
Steely
we
Dan.
make it happen? Sorry, Becca. Is she on the call?
You want some Steely Dan or what are you talking?
No, not what are you? Come on. I'm talking BTO. Let it roll down the highway. Yeah, roll, roll. You know what I'm saying? 70s rock and roll.
I
Not
wish I were
Steely Dan.
hipper and knew that song,
You
but
didn't know? You don't know BTO?
I don't think I do.
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
I think I've heard the name, but I couldn't tell
Google
you
it. Google it. YouTube it.
that I will do.
Okay.
Pharmacist Ben, I appreciate you being here because I know you got a hell of a busy schedule. Tell
I
me
do.
about Saturday, please. You did one with the
Oh, Saturday I did a Martin Luther King one, and I was supposed to talk about Fuquoiden, and I talked about Martin Luther King.
well,
I love Martin. I have a thing for Martin Luther King. I actually pattern a lot of myself around Martin Luther King, believe it or not. Like I listen to I Have a Dream. I have a dream when all God's children, black little boys and white little boys from, that whole thing. And I remember just being blown away by it when I was a little kid. I was old enough to have listened to it live. And it's just so powerful to me. So I've always had a thing for Martin Luther King. So I decided to go off on Martin Luther King a little bit. And then at the end, Yolanda's like, well, that was great, but we didn't hear about Fuquoiden and collagen. And that's what I was. So anyway, is that why you asked me? Why did you ask?
Well, yeah, well, because I didn't see the program, but Bruce says he knows BTO. Hello, Miss Philly. Um, I didn't see the program, but I was saddened that I didn't because I also do have an affinity for Martin Luther King and what he did for our country and the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
So,
And Martin Luther King would be in longevity if he could. Let me tell you why. Because Martin Luther King, the thing about longevity that people miss, and the thing about Martin Luther King that people miss, is that Martin Luther King was about service. Longevity is about service. And my whole point was sometimes we forget in the world of business and in the world of health that it's not like about making people get better. It's not about making a lot of money. It's about how much are you making a difference in people's lives? How much are you making a positive difference in people's lives? Whether or not their disease is going away or whether or not your business is great, I think the metric should be, or could be, I don't say should be, could be service. And that's what Martin Luther King was about. Sometimes we forget that. Yes, he was a great spokesperson. He was a great, he knew how to manipulate politics to get for the benefit of the people he was trying to advocate for. I mean, he was a brilliant guy, absolutely brilliant human being, and one of the greatest human beings from a like a Gandhi type of perspective, like changing cultures. Look at the impact he's had. Look at how the world has changed since 1968 in terms of race relations. Now you could say there's a lot of prejudice and there's a lot of pushback, and I get that. But look at the advances. Look at the acceptance. In a way, the difference in different races have been accepted in a way. The world is so much more egalitarian than it was back then, and I'm fully aware. I'm not black, so I don't have to deal with things that black people ordinarily have to deal with. But still, it's better than it was in 1968. In 1968, it was like primitive. There were still places that had water fountains, separate water fountains. In 1968,
tremendously better.
It's tremendously better.
And I'm definitely a recipient of these sacrifices. So.
Yes, absolutely. And Martin Luther King had a huge impact in that way. And so anyway, I wanted to make that connection. And then at the end, Yolanda said, "Well, that was great, but what about Fuquoiden?"
And certainly he wasn't in a silo by himself. He had
a team of people.
And
but it wouldn't have happened I don't know if it would have happened as effectively without him. He was singular in that way.
I think he had the charisma.
Yeah, exactly. Even his main spokesperson was, you probably know, Jesse Jackson, or one of his main associates. He was good, absolutely, and he ran for president even. As, think about it. Could a black person have run? Could a black person have become president? Can you imagine how far? Right. So
absolutely.
Jesse, yeah, go ahead.
I tell a story when I was in the mortgage business about they would always call me in for to give this little talk, and it had to do with the fact that the civil rights bill was on the table, but Lyndon Johnson made sure it passed when King was assassinated.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was like so it was
on the table, but his death accelerated it.
That was the reason. We would probably not have had a civil rights.
You would have had eventually, but eventually. But it was like a Jesus thing. He was a martyr. And he even said, I love that, I've been to the mountain. I may not get there with you. I may not get there with you.
It's like
I've been to the mountain. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the
coming. It's like your Moses story. So
it's like my Moses story. It's exactly like my Moses story. I may not get there with you.
Oh no!
All right. So anyway, that's what happened on Saturday.
All right, fantastic. I think
you want to show that picture. You want to show that picture?
Ironically, we have a good number of folks who are coming in with questions regarding skin today. And so, ironically, I just want to make sure I'm grabbing the right one. 58. Okay, so to get us started, why we're really here, let's take a look at this.
Don't forget, Becca. Is Becca here?
Becca's not here.
Oh no. Well, then we have to say it for her. Everything we say here is just for your entertainment. We don't really know anything. Your doctor's much smarter than we are, and if you have a problem, go see him.
All right. Well,
did I say that right? Did I say that right?
That's not quite the disclaimer, but it'll do for now. I'll make sure it's posted eventually. Wyoming Annie said, by the way, she says in 1960 it was a lot harder for females too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Times are much better now.
Okay. That's true. Hey, will you cut off this gal's face a little bit? I don't want to get in trouble here. Cut off the front of her face. I just want to see her skin. Can you do that?
Do that. Let's see.
Take it off. Take it off for now. I don't want to get in any trouble. I don't want to. But I want people to see that. Maybe, get her face out of it.
How about that?
Keep her nose. I guess, you think that's, can you crop it to the right this way? Ears?
No,
crop the ear.
I can't, bro. I can't.
Okay. All right. We'll do it this way. I don't think this is good. But I want people to see what's going on here. Okay? Yeah, a little closer. What do you see here? What's the characteristics that you see here? That's good. What's the characteristics you see here? All in here.
The characteristics.
Redness. You see redness.
I see scarring.
You see scarring. But the main thing is it's swollen and it's red.
Swollen and red, yes.
Right? And it's swollen and red, and especially right around the nasal area. See how it's swollen and red there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's two major principles in this healing game we're playing. I don't want to say game, but healing procedure, exercise that we're doing. Okay, you with me?
Yes, sir.
Two things. Number one, and you know this better than anybody. And by the way, AJ, you're incredible. It has not lost on me how much you absorb, how fast you absorb, and just how damn smart you are. It is not lost on me.
Well, I appreciate that. I think everybody learns from you equally as fast.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but you are remarkable. So, and I want props to you. Okay, now, you see inflammation redness. What do inflammation and redness? Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're going to talk about the two things. First of all, where you see the disease is not where the disease begins. You have to go upstream. You cannot take care of a health challenge at the level of the health challenge unless you're committing a fraud and you're disguising something.
Mm-hmm.
By committing a fraud, I mean you're hiding something, like you're forcing the blood vessel. She has redness here, inflammation. You could put a steroid and force it down.
Mm-hmm.
You follow? You haven't corrected the immune problem, the toxicity that's causing this, but you can fake it out. You can commit a fraud, fake it by forcing it down. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, now, what do we call faking it, committing a fraud by pushing it down with artificially in a contrived way? Doctoring. Correct. We call it doctoring. Doctoring is to commit a fraud. You take the organ out so you don't have to see the endometriosis. You still have the chemistry. You haven't changed the chemistry. You follow?
Yes, sir.
You take the gallbladder out so you don't have a gallstone. You haven't changed the chemistry, the metabolism, the processing of food, but you've got the organ out. So now it doesn't look like there's a problem. It's a fraud. And we have to accept that. That's the business that we're in. The reason that's important, and this is the hardest challenge we have, the hardest challenge we have from a business perspective, from a health perspective, from a family perspective and friends perspective, even from our own perspective, is we are hypnotized, conditioned, programmed every minute of the day practically, if you watch TV, to go in the medical model. If most people are in a bind, they're going to go to the doctor. Even people on this call who know better, they're going to go to the doctor. It's just in the conditioning. It's in the culture. Live with, understand it so that you can do something about it. But understand, I once saw a cartoon, I know I've talked about it before, but it's a cool cartoon. There's two fish in water, in a fish tank or in the ocean, and one fish is saying to the other, there's this thing called water. Have you heard of it? And the joke is, nobody sees the water. You're in the water. You're transparent. It's transparent to you, right? And that's how doctoring is in our culture. It's transparent to us. From birth, think about it. From birth, all through childhood and infancy and childhood, into your adult years, and into your older years, elderly years, it's doctor. For the vast majority of people, 95% of the population, maybe more, and even people here. So we got to accept that. Yet, at the same time, what's the definition of insanity?
Repeating the same thing and expecting a different result.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. We got more doctors. We got more drugs. We got more hospitals. We got more devices. We spend almost $5 trillion in healthcare in this country. Trillion. We have the top dollar for everything. Everything. They own our health, lock, stock, and barrel. And what do we get for it? Are we healthy? Is our longevity increasing? Is our immune system stronger? Have we ended heart disease and cancer and autoimmunity with all the war on this and the war on that? No, it doesn't work. But the conditioning and the hypnosis is such that we're going to do it. So just understand that's what we're going against when we talk to our parents or our kids or our friends or relatives or whatever. It's what we're going against when we talk to our customers and our clients. And it's what we're going against when we're talking about our families, people close to us. And you know what else? It's on us too, because when push comes to shove, if you have cancer, you're going to go to the doctor. Even though oncologists have such a poor rate of healing disease, of healing cancer, even though they're satisfied with 5 years, and they'll give you all kinds of chemotherapy and organs, and there's some cancers that they figured out, but the vast majority they have not, and many of them, if not most of them, are increasing. So clearly, it doesn't work. So those are the 2 points I want to make. Now, we can talk about this lady. This looks like guaranteed she's going to go to a dermatologist. 100%, she's going to go to a dermatologist. In fact, her esthetician gave that to me. I work with estheticians. I work with some dermatologists, but a lot of estheticians. So her esthetician gave that to me. Because what does she think this is?
Topical problem.
She thinks it's a skin problem. It's on the skin. It's obviously a skin problem. But if she was listening to our call, she'd know, as you know, AJ, where you see the disease is not where the disease begins. It's not where you work on if you want to address the disease. There's nothing you can do to that skin to help it from a topical perspective any more than you can fix a piece of rotten apple that's hanging on the tree.
Let me ask a crude question.
Yeah.
Let me ask a crude question.
Yeah.
Let's say she was playing in dung and it got on her face. Could that?
It would not cause that.
Okay, I'll just
It would not cause that.
You know what I'm
That's
saying.
not.
You know what I'm
No,
saying.
it wouldn't cause that. It's not topical. That's what I'm
I
telling you.
understand.
It's not a topical condition.
I
The
just wanted
skin,
everyone.
there's very, very few. Like a fraction of a percent of skin conditions are topical. A fraction of a percent. 99% of them are internal. So this one, the clues here are the redness and the inflammation. Redness and inflammation are the two major signs of, and she's not taking her temperature, she feels heat. That's the third sign. And then if she press, you feel pain. That's the fourth sign of what?
Well, I mean,
immunity, immune system, immune activity.
Okay.
Inflammation is the calling card of the immune system. You can't see immunity. That's biochemical. It's a bunch of chemistry. But you can see inflammation. Now, keep in mind, most inflammation is micro-inflammation inside. And that doesn't, you don't notice that until decades down the road. And that's when you're sitting there watching TV and you go, I was minding my own business and I got arthritis. You know, I had nothing to do with me. I was just fine yesterday and today I got Parkinson's. You know, we don't see the accumulating micro-inflammatory pathologies and degeneration that's accruing over time.
Are there any signs of this steady accrual of problems?
Inside, yes, plenty of signs. The body's always giving you signs. We got to listen. We don't listen. Body's always giving you signs. Absolutely. Discomfort, fatigue, metabolic issues, triangle disease stuff. You know, skin problems. You always see micro-inflammatory issues. You got to perceive them. They're very subtle, and the body's very subtle at first, and then it's louder and louder. However, here you're dealing with a major problem. You're not dealing with microinflammation. You're dealing with macroinflammation, black eye inflammation, right? Yes. That's a lot. That's good news and bad news. And this is really cool about, see how you can see obviously this woman has a serious condition, right? That's actually great news. It's much harder to deal with a very subtle condition. This condition, she can notice a difference tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow. Except for she has to get past the conditioning, the hypnosis.
Thinking it's a topical problem.
All of that. All that. There's a hypnotic thing that happens via marketing and advertising. And so you got to get past it. She's got to get past that, but she can be a new person tomorrow. So what's the first thing you would do? She's got some kind of, first of all, let's backtrack real quick. What is inflammation?
Inflammation.
Not the qualities of it.
Histamine response.
No. Don't tell me the description of it. I want to know, what is it showing us? That's the minutiae. That's the mechanics of it. I'm talking about the mechanics of it. I'm talking about, what is it demonstrating to us writ large? What's the big picture that you're getting when you see inflammation or hear about inflammation? I'll tell you.
Disturbance.
Close. It's a type of disturbance. Yes, that's true. A protective response.
Okay.
It's a protection. It's an airbag. Your body has an airbag system. Think about how cool that is when you think about it, right? When there's some kind of protection that needs to happen, you get a biological airbag. Fibers and fluids form a net around a wounded area. Blood vessels open up so that white blood cells and other chemicals, immune chemicals, can migrate to the area. So you get these kind of standard qualities of redness and puffiness and heat from the blood and pain if you press. So you get these kind of qualities associated with it, but it's all an airbag, right?
Yes.
Why does your airbag deploy? Randomly? Hopefully not.
Well, because you're in danger.
You got into some kind of accident.
Mm-hmm.
It's protecting you. Inflammation is protection. It's your best friend. Let me say that again. Inflammation is your best friend. It's protection. This is, as unpleasant as it is for this lady and for, obviously cosmetically unappealing, it's a protective response. It's keeping her alive. This response is keeping her alive. It's our best friend.
Explain that a little more.
She has some kind of enemy invader, a perceived enemy invader. So the blood vessels are opening. So white blood cells, immune cells can migrate to the area. That's redness. It looks yucky, but it's survival. It's puffy. There's fluids. That's protecting the tissue, surrounding the tissue with a shock absorber, a protective cushion. It's unappealing cosmetically, but it's survival.
I'm sorry, I don't want to jump the gun. What's happening in our gut, though, that's protected?
Hang on. Let me get there, okay? So this is a blood issue. It's not a skin issue. This is a blood issue. It's not a skin issue. This is a blood issue. All disease is cell disease, but all cell disease is preceded by dirty blood. This is a blood issue. Now, here's where it gets good. This is the good news. If you have a stream of toxicity that's entering into the bloodstream that the body's protecting itself from, and you stop the stream of toxicity, what do you think is going to happen to the protective response?
It'll decrease.
No, it'll end.
It'll end. Okay.
There's nothing that's to protect from. There's nothing to protect from. Are you with me?
Yes.
There's nothing to protect from. Now, you have two ways of modifying this condition. Top down, bottom up. From what you see or from or going upstream. If you try to do it from what you see or up or top down, you'll take a drug. You'll force the inflammation down with a steroid. That's the standard treatment. That's called doctoring. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. But that's what it is. It's faking out the system, faking out the patient by hiding the signs. Or the other way is you can go upstream and see what the immune system is responding to, protecting us from. Which makes more sense?
Well, of course, going from the root.
Well, you say, of course, and I say, of course, but what do? You think this lady did that?
Of course not.
No, nobody does it. You say, of course, right? Because, of course, I agree with you, of course. It seems of course. But I'm the crazy one. For saying what I'm saying, I'm not saying anything wrong, so they're not going to kick me off or do anything legal to me, but they can laugh at me. And I guarantee you a lot, probably a lot won't because it's just so logical, but a lot of doctors will say Ben's a quack.
A lot less people are laughing these days.
A lot less people are laughing. That is true. I've noticed that. A lot less people are laughing. Even the journals I read are starting to recognize what I and Dr. Wallach and other folks in longevity have been saying for years. This is not difficult. The good news is this kind of condition, because it's so dramatic, can end very quickly. And if it doesn't end very quickly, she's not doing just a couple of things. And that's why I wanted to show this, because this is just such a dramatic example of what we talk about, where a lot of things we talk about. Number one, where you see the problem is not where the problem begins. You got to go upstream. Demonstration of that, and a demonstration of the inflammatory nature of disease. Skin disease is very obvious, but it's happening inside the body as well.
Well,
so this is a classic food problem. You can also see oil. Oil is a sign of cortisol. Just to show you how I look at this. Oil is a sign of cortisol. Sebum is a sign of cortisol. Cortisol involves psychological stress, inflammatory stress, dysglycemia, changes in blood sugar. There's also, you can see the breakouts. Those breakouts are signs that the immune system is active in the follicle. And that will, she's got the immune chemicals. They call them cytokines. You may have heard that term, cytokines.
Storm.
These are immune chemicals that come from white blood cells, and these cytokines are responsible for the inflammation, and they're getting in the follicles, and that's what's causing these pimples, these kind of lesions. And then the rest is blood and inflammation and cortisol and oil, sebum from cortisol. Very easy to deal with, extremely easy. As dramatic as that is, she could be a new woman. There's some stuff that's going to take some time for it to go down, but within a month, she could be a brand new woman. This can all be gone in 4 to 6 weeks. But you have to change. And there's no dermatologist that can fix this. At least not with dermatological tools.
Pharmacist
but
Ben,
we can at Longevity. How cool is that? We can.
I think it's tremendous. That's why.
Isn't that cool?
That's why I stick around.
I know. We can, even though we have to give that silly thing at the beginning, I'm just a dumb F, and the doctor's really smart and just you don't listen to anything I say. It's all for entertainment. It's really us that's going to make a difference in this lady's skin. People like this lady, not a physician.
Well,
And not because doctors are bad or dumb, please. Not because they're bad people, not because they're dumb people. They're good people and they're smart people. It's not about that. They're just as, as hypnotized as we are. And on top of that, that's what they're not trained to do this. It's like the carpenter. I say it all the time. If you got a great carpenter, builds great furniture, you ask him to fix your engine, he's going to take a hammer and nail, he's going to destroy your engine in your car. And you say, what'd you do? You took a hammer and nail, you destroyed my engine, my transmission. He's going to say, I'm a carpenter. I do cabinets. Why are you asking me to fix your engine? Why are you asking me to fix your car?
Or like the scorpion.
Scorpion
and the frog.
Yeah, I'm a scorpion. That's what I do. That's a little mean, but
I love that story. Pharmacist Ben, I got a question from our buddy Moshtag.
Moshtag. What's up, Moshtag?
And he says his friend is 24-year-old female. Main symptom, this is long, you might want to get a pen. Main system that won't go away is back knee. Okay,
acne. Let's stop right there. Why would you have acne? Well, let's talk about acne, okay? That, by the way, that lady did not have acne, even though they have lesions, and that's a very important point. Just because you have zits doesn't mean you have acne. Acne, truly, is caused by one main thing and then two subsequent things. The first problem in acne is rapid division of cells inside a follicle. Let me digress. What's a follicle? So on your skin, you have pores, right? Openings. Underneath the pore, you have a rabbit hole. The pore is the opening to the rabbit hole. A rabbit hole is I don't know if you've ever heard this word. It's an invagination. You know what that means? An invagination.
Well,
something goes in.
Okay.
Something goes in. A rabbit hole is part of the skin, but it goes in. The skin is made up of skin cells. We all know that, right? Well, in the follicle, because it's the skin that's kind of took a little dip in, the surface of the walls of the rabbit hole are made up of skin cells. Make sense? Make sense?
Yeah. Is this an image of something what you're talking about?
No. That's an image of the skin, but I'm talking about the Oh, yeah. Kind of. This is a hair follicle. Okay? It's a little bit different. So I'm not talking. Imagine this little rabbit hole without the hair.
Okay.
Okay? See if you can find an image of a follicle that's not a hair follicle. Okay. Some follicles have hairs growing out of them. Those are the ones where you have hair, and those are called hair follicles. I'm just talking about a follicle with no hair that's just a pore with a rabbit hole. Now, if you have a hair follicle where this happens, then you get an ingrown hair, and that's a really big problem. That's a whole other thing. Have you ever had ingrown hairs?
Yeah, once on my neck.
I used to get them all the time. Curly, black hairs, because of curls, it grows in, instead of growing out. Sometimes it curls like this. So black hair or wiry hair that kind of curls, that tends to be more ingrown, more likely to become ingrown. So anyway, you can look around for a picture, but just let me talk about this real quick. Yes. So you have the skin, and then you have an invagination of the skin, and that invagination is called a follicle. And that follicle is just skin that's been turned this way. And just like you have skin on the top, where you have skin cells accumulating on the surface, you can have skin cells accumulating and rapidly dividing in a follicle. That's the first step in the formation of an acne pimple. So then you have to say, what is it that causes that hyperproliferation of the cells inside the follicle? That's the first step, right? Hyperproliferation occurs under several conditions. Number one, it occurs under what's called ductal hypoxia, which is low levels of oxygen. Under conditions of low levels of oxygen, they'll divide. That's what cancer is, really. And there's many diseases that are not cancer that are hyperproliferative, where cells are dividing too rapidly. Psoriasis, for example, is a disease where cells are growing too rapidly. There's also nutritional issues, especially around fats, fatty vitamins, and essential fatty acids that will cause cells to divide rapidly, especially deficiencies in vitamin A, which is a major player in how cells divide and grow. So under conditions of deficiencies in nutrients, particularly fats, particularly vitamin A, and under conditions of hypoxia, cells are going to go crazy. That's the first step. When these cells go crazy, they're called keratinocytes. They make keratin. When these keratinocytes go crazy, you get a clog inside the follicle because the cells they're accumulating, and plus they make proteins. They make keratin. They make a protein that's like your fingernail. So you got a bunch of fingernail-like material, filaments, and you've got dead cells. These are all clogging that follicle. That's the first step in an acne pimple. Okay? Now, that other lady didn't have that problem. She was inflamed from the immune system. That's different. That's different.
And you can tell the difference.
You can tell the difference. Absolutely.
You can tell the difference, but how do we tell the difference?
It'll be more rashy. It'll be more, we say, a macular versus papular. A papule is like a discrete unit. When it's mashed up, she didn't have discrete units, that lady. She had a bunch of, it was a bunch of, they call macules. It was like lesions, but they weren't discrete follicles that were plugged. You follow me? If you show,
almost
look
like
at the picture.
rolling hills as opposed to mountains.
Almost like a rolling hill. Yeah, very good example. Very good analogy. Like a rolling hill as opposed to like a volcano. Mm-hmm. Right? So you can tell by looking at it. So acne, which she did not have, step number 1 is hyperproliferative. That's the first step in the formation. Then, because there's a little oil gland in the bottom of the follicle, sebaceous gland, it's an oil gland, that oil gland's pumping oil. And if you got a clog, it's going to keep pumping the oil, and you're just going to get clogged. It's going to get trapped in there. And that will create the beginnings of a pimple, a whitehead or a blackhead, the beginnings of a pimple. But it's not a pimple yet. What makes it a full-blown zit is when bacteria get trapped in there. You have bacteria in the skin. So when this whole thing happens, bacteria can get trapped. And these bacteria are controlled, regulated by light and oxygen. Those are control mechanisms for keeping bacteria from overgrow. They can't overgrow if there's a lot of oxygen, and they can't overgrow if there's sunlight, or if there's photons, ultraviolet radiation. But if they're trapped in this plug, not only are they not going to have to worry about oxygen and UV light, but on top of that, they got an all-you-can-eat buffet. They're going nuts. They're pigging out. They're going crazy inside. They got fat. They got protein. They got everything they need, everything a bacteria could want. No light bothering it. It's in the dark. No oxygen. That's when you get your zit. That's a zit. And that's standard acne. This is why it's important based on this question. I'm going somewhere for the question that Moshtag asked. Moshtag said, Bacne. The kind of acne I described requires sebaceous glands and lots of pores. That's why the face is where you get acne. You got sebaceous glands, you got lots of pores. Plus the cells are dividing rapidly. So you got everything going for you on the face. You don't have that on the back. You don't have a lot of wide open pores on the back. You don't have a lot of sebaceous glands on the back. So what's bacne? Right? I just gave you the mechanism for an acne zit, but you don't have that on the back. What does that tell us? Bacne is not acne. They call it acne because in our culture, anytime you have zits, they call it acne. What do you have on the back that you don't have on the face? Well, you have it on the face too, but not in the traditional place where you have acne. Traditionally, these acne zits I was talking about are T-zone. Mm-hmm. Okay? You can have acne on the side, but that's different. And that's not even acne again. This is acne, T-zone. We call this acne on the side. Sometimes we call it acne, but it's not really. It's more like backne, which is not acne. What is it that the back and the cheek area have that the T-zone does not have?
You got me, but I'm thinking it's got to do with hormones, though.
Not quite. Lymph.
Lymph.
You have a lymphatic system concentrated in this band in the middle of the face, where that lady was breaking out, by the way, and the back, through the shoulders, the back, even into the butt. Sometimes people will get, I don't want to be, I know it's a family show here, but I had a guy who had a condition called ballitis. He had a big old zit, pimple, boil on his male member.
On the member?
On the member itself. Yes.
Did he have a girlfriend?
And he's like, he's married. And he's like, what the heck do I do? How did this happen? Where am I? Nobody understood it. He didn't know where to go. Where do you go for something like that? What he didn't know, and his doctors didn't know, is that's lymph. That's where your lymph is. Your lymph is all in that area, and it's even in your butt. People break out on the butt. People get zits on their butt. They're not acne. It's not acne on your butt. That is lymph. People who abuse anabolic steroids, they'll get acne on the back all the time. It's diagnostic for anabolic steroid abuse in the gym. I know you're probably working out when you're a kid. See people with acne all on their back, all on their shoulders. Those are people who are injecting steroids, because that kind of condition is lymphatic. The lymphatic is plugged into the intestine, starts at the level of the intestine, surprise, surprise, and it goes through to the liver. So between the liver and the intestine, you've got your lymph problems. What does the liver do? Hormones, detoxification. We find that people who have backne are doing hormones, by putting a stress on the liver. You can also get it by toxicity that comes in from the intestine. It's lymphatic is the point. It's not dermatological. But again, where are most people going to go when they have acne?
Dermatologist. She's got more issues. She's got more issues, and it sounds like this may be related. She's dealt with eating disorders.
This is the same person?
Same person, eating disorders, weight fluctuation, menstrual cycles painful. Went from 175 to 145 after.
How old is this person? How old?
24-year-old.
Okay, well, here's the good news. The bad news is she's a mess. The good news is she can be fixed, and all this stuff can go away.
After she did Ariaza's liver cleanse,
she did it.
She did it after.
She got better, probably.
That's when she lost the 30 pounds. She's been on a 90 and avoids some of the offensive foods. Sometimes the back acne turns into one or two boils. And in an old video, you mentioned this is the lymphatic system pushing up, and that's why she has acne on the back, shoulders, jawline, and cheek.
So, it's all the same, dude. It's the same. She's got a liver issue, secondary to a digestive issue. Everything. The whole thing will settle down once she gets her toxicity, digestive issue going, and that's going to involve toxicity. There's some metabolic blood sugar issues, I'm sure, that are going on there too. Look, what's the number one disease smart people suffer from?
Overthinkitis.
Don't overthink. Don't overthink. There's not a lot of things that go wrong in the body. There's a lot of ways they show up, but there's not a lot of things that go wrong. It's all the same. How many times do we repeat ourselves here? I'm telling you, you're going to call me up one day and say, Ben, we got it. We're done. We don't need it anymore. It landed. It was landed.
For that.
It's landed. We don't need you anymore. And that's, to a healthcare professional, that's the greatest day, is when the healthcare professional can make him, has done his work. And that's really the job. And that's, I told this story on Saturday, how I talked to Dr. Wallach maybe, 20 years ago or so. And I asked him why he named the company American Longevity, right? That's the name of the company. That used to be the name of the company, American Longevity. So I asked him, why did you name it American Longevity? He says to me, it's my two favorite things: longevity, health, and America. We are good enough. We are smart enough. We don't need a king. No kings. You know, we don't need a king. We can do it ourselves. You know, we can be our own authority. And that's what, to me, that should be our goal. That should be our goal as distributors of longevity. Help other people be their own authority. You don't want them counting on you. You want them to be able to take the ball and run with it, and then share it to other people. That's how we're gonna grow our. I called it a beloved community. That's what Martin Luther King called it, a beloved community. That's how we build our beloved community. We take the mantle of information and we use it ourselves by learning it, understanding it, and we share it with others.
Pharmacist Ben, we got a couple more questions. Barbara, our friend Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Before you answer the question, I think something you're going to be proud of me for.
Yeah.
What can we recommend to clients with MTHFR?
Okay. MTHFR. MTHFR. Let's talk about that.
Before you answer, I want to show you this. What do you think of that? McDonald's. Taco
Bell,
Party.
That's exactly what I think of that. You got it. You got it. You got it. That's exactly what I think of that. That says it all. I'd say no more. Okay? And by the way, Raising Cane's is, you can't think of a more twisted, perverted, awful substance to put in your body. Even McDonald's is not as bad.
Why?
You know what Raising Cane's? You know what Raising Cane's is? And that's not. That's the wrong. Did you make this up? How did you do this? Did you make this up? Because this is not right. This looks like AI. Some bullshit. AI bullshit. Because
the image is made by AI, but I came up with the concept.
Well, it's great, but Raising Cane's is wrong. Raising Cane's is is not fried chicken. It's chicken nuggets or chicken strips, deep fried. That's all it is. Deep fried, and I think they have French fries too.
Yeah.
Those foods are anti-humanity. They're anti-human. They're not human. They're not foods for, not even human, not even for animals. They're not food for biological systems. They wreak havoc on our bodies. Put that up again. You want to put that up again?
Of course I do. I'm proud of it. Let's see.
All right. It's very good. It's very good. Very nice. Now, wait a minute. Is that serious? Did you craft that, or did they really sponsor all that stuff?
No, I crafted this.
Okay. I thought you meant they were sponsoring it.
No.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Okay, and I understand. I thought this was like a poster. They were sponsoring some MTHFR thing. All right, so let's talk about MTHFR. MTHFR, methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase, is an enzyme that's involved in a process called methylation, which is a biochemical process. I haven't used this example in a long time, but this is very instructive, very illustrative. Tinker Toys. Chemistry's Tinker Toys. Okay? This isn't a Tinker Toy, but this is Marty the Molecule. Marty the Molecule. Okay?
Or Barry the Back Scratcher. Which one would you rather?
No. Marty the Massager.
Marty the Molecule. Okay, we'll go with that.
All right. I just thought it looked like a molecule. I thought it was cool. And
it does.
I draw a little face on him. I don't know if you can see the little face.
Oh, no, that's cool.
Okay. So methylation, and I should say, one of the ways the body makes things happen is by something called modification. And modification is when you take another chemical and you stick it on the molecule. You modify the molecule.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. Let me get another one.
It must have been an antioxidant response.
Maybe. That could have been something like that. So, oops. I don't know how well this is going to work, you guys, but the point is you modify it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That modification changes the nature of the molecule. And it's one of the ways the body makes things happen. One of the modifications that the body will make is we'll take something called a methyl. I'm not going to get into the chemistry of methyl, but we'll take methyl and modify this. That's called methylation. Okay? And methylation is a very important process for activating things, for detoxifying things, for creating new molecules. It's a very important biochemical process, and the body has to be able to methylate whenever it wants to. Okay? If you have a deficiency in methyls, you're not going to methylate as effectively. If you have a drain on methylation, for example, methyls involved in detoxifying substances, you may be using all your methyls for detoxification and not for making other molecules. One of the places where methylation plays a very important role is in activation of vitamins, particularly the B vitamins. And that's why you've heard of things like methylfolate or methylcobalamin. Exactly. People are hearing about methyls now. MTHFR is an important player it's an enzyme. Nothing happens without enzymes. You get this, right? Enzymes are the
catalyst.
The catalyst. They make things happen. So MTHFR is an enzyme that catalyzes methylation of folic acid, which activates folic acid. Very important. Folic acid is very important for dynamism, for making red blood cells particularly, for babies, for not babies, but fetuses. Folate is it's what's used in prenatal vitamins because folate deficiency is associated with birth defects.
Because of Dr. Wallach, by the way.
What? Is that? I didn't know that. Is that true?
Dr. Wallach, one of his 8 lawsuits was to make sure that folic acid was in prenatal vitamins.
I didn't know that. Maybe that's true. That's news to me. I didn't hear that. But anyway, the point being that without MTHFR, you can't methylate and you can't grow as fast, and you get tired and your immune system doesn't function and things don't work as well without MTHFR. It turns out that MTHFR is regulated by a gene, like all other enzymes. All enzymes come from genes. And it's been found that if you have a genetic issue with MTHFR, where you can't make MTHFR, you won't methylate. And so there are people who are concerned about substances that don't have methyls in them. So if you remember cyanocobalamin, which was the old form of B12, your body would drain methyls, and if you had an MTHFR deficiency, you may not be able to methylate as effectively. But here's where it's not true. Here's where it's wrong. So anyway, before I tell you where it's wrong, it's become a darling of the alternative health thing. Oh, you have an MTHFR deficiency. We're going to test you for an MTHFR deficiency, and we're going to make sure you get these special supplements because you have an MTHFR deficiency. Here's where I'm not buying it. 50% of people have an MTHFR deficiency. If it was a mutation, which is what they're telling you, it's a mutation. That's what people want to think. Oh, I have a mutation. I have a genetic mutation. No, you don't. If it was a mutation, 50% of people wouldn't have it. It's not a mutation by definition if half the population has it, or 40%. I don't remember, 50. A lot of people have it.
For sure.
Obviously, it's not a mutation. It's something. It's real. Mutation is when something's weird, right? It happens. It's an anomaly. It's a mutation. This is not a mutation. So the question is why does it happen? Well, guess what? People who have this mutation, MTHFR deficiency, have other things. What other things? Inflammation.
Okay.
All the things. It's it's a symptom. It's almost like the body doesn't want you growing because you're not healthy enough to grow. MTHFR is important for making things happen. It's almost like the body's putting the brakes on things because you're not healthy enough. You're not strong enough. So forget MTHFR deficiency. Work on the basics. Remember, we live in a world of marketing. There's always somebody who's going to come up with a special thing. Methylene blue is a special weird thing that you need to have. No, you need the nuts and bolts, the blocking and tackling. You know, I used to be a Raiders fan. Bad thing to be if you like football, right? I'm not anymore. I turned in my. No, I'm not anymore. No, that's a ridiculous organization. I don't do that anymore.
Because they were in Las Vegas?
No, because all they want to do is get the star. They want to get the wide receiver star. They want to get the quarterback star. They want to get the running back star.
You missed my.
They don't want an offensive line.
Okay.
They don't want to do the basics. They want methylene blue. They want MTHFR. They want the fancy formula. They don't want to do the blocking and tackling. And guess what? They don't win a lot of games. You got to block and tackle. You need the basics. Forget MTHFR. What you want is digestion and blood sugar. And then if you want to do a few other things, you can work on adrenal health and polyvagal theory and activate the parasympathetic nervous system and breathe. Get MTHFR. MTHFR is associated with cortisol. It's associated with stress. MTHFR deficiency, I should say, is associated with cortisol. It's associated with stress. It's associated with the incomplete or inefficient blocking and tackling. Block and tackle. Do the basics. Forget the wide receiver and the quarterback. You need an offensive line, right? And that's a kind of football metaphor for, unfortunately, for people who may not recognize football. But you get what I'm saying here.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Did that help that person who asked the question?
I think that Barbara gets the point.
Okay.
One last that came in, Cynthia. I have a client who's 79 years old, male with stage 3 kidney disease, blood sugar issues, prostate, high blood pressure, wants to regain weight, muscle mass. He's on the 90.
You cut out the first part. You cut out. Say that again.
Cynthia has a client who's 79 years old, male with stage 3 kidney disease.
Okay.
Blood sugar issues, prostate, high blood pressure. Wants to regain weight, muscle mass. Is on the 90. Niacin Plus, Sweeties, Digest-FX, Selenium. Is the Banana Fit Shake a good choice for weight gain?
Yeah, he needs a lot more stuff than that. He's got the kidney disease. That tells me he's got metabolic issues. And again, blocking and tackling. Does he want to gain weight and muscle? Is that what he's saying?
Saying wants to gain weight. Apparently, he lost
weight. Get in the gym. Get in the gym. Correct insulin resistance. It's very noble.
150.
Oh yeah. Well, he's probably got some serious insulin problems. 6 foot, 150. He's not putting on. He's not. I'm sure it's not. There's not a lot of muscle there. I'm sure. So the best way to build muscle and at the same time increase male hormones or support male hormones anyway is resistance training and exercise.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way. And yes, the shakes the protein will definitely help. As will I wanted to talk about the fucoidan, with the collagen and the collagen drink.
Yeah.
All that will help. But block and tackle. Blocking and tackling.
We had Dr. Laura Dennison. You know Lauren Stan, right?
Oh, of course I do.
We had Dr. Laura on Friday.
Okay, what did she say?
Because somebody wasn't around.
Okay.
And
I was with my 92-year-old mother. Okay.
You know what? I know this, but because I know whenever you're not around, you must be taking care of mom, and I hope she's doing fantastic.
She's pretty amazing. She's plugging away. She's deaf. She's blind. She's chronic. Her body's falling apart, but she's plugging along.
We have to have a conversation offline about that.
Okay. So. All right.
But
92.
But she mentioned the Stay Balanced they initially called it something else, and it was
for what? For vertigo or for
Stay Balanced for male for testosterone balancing.
She's an herbalist.
Yes.
I'm not. I'm more of a nutritionist than an herbalist,
and
so I can't really. I can't really speak to her formulations. I know she's very bright. I'm a fan for sure.
Well, I would say to you that I don't want to go a day without having Stay Balanced.
Serious?
Stay Balanced is the fun.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Well, you teach me about it. Teach me about it.
Well, I mean, I'm not an herbalist either. I really don't know.
No, but from a patient's point of view.
Well, I've heard a woman say, I can't take Stay Balanced because she didn't have a boyfriend and she just felt frustrated.
So she felt sexually frustrated.
Yeah. Because
so what does Stay Balanced do exactly?
It balances your hormones, and you kind of feel ready all the time.
Oh, it revs up your motor.
Kinda.
Okay, that's what you're saying. It revs you up, huh?
Yeah.
What did she say? What did Laura say?
Well, she just mentioned.
I'm gonna have to talk to Stan. I'm gonna see if that's what's going on over there.
Well,
maybe he invented it for his own, or maybe she did for her own benefit.
Oh yeah, they She talked about that at some point. It did talk about initially they called it something else, but there was some pharmaceutical blend that sued them and made them change the name.
Oh, okay, got it.
So
That's
it used,
interesting.
it used to
I'm
be
gonna have to
called.
call. I'm gonna call. As soon as we're done with this call, I'm gonna give Stan a call and see if he'll tell me. Or no, I'll look it up online. They got it online, probably, right?
Yeah, it's on.
All right.
You can find it on.
It's probably ashwagandha, ginseng. Let's see what else. Yes, keratosis pylorus, Brenda. You want to think of vitamin A deficiency. It's almost like if you take vitamin A out of the diet, you'll get keratosis pylorus. Keratosis pylorus is very similar to what we were just talking about. The mechanism is very similar to what we were just talking about, where cells will divide very rapidly due to ductal hypoxia and nutritional deficiencies, particularly around fats. So what I would be doing is I'd be using high daily doses of vitamin A for keratosis pylorus, and also retinol topically. Retinol is topical vitamin A. And go to trutreatments.com if you want a keratosis pylorus product. Okay.
There's one more question that is here. Let's see here. Ben, do you know what is going on? Take a look at that question.
Take a look at
the question on the screen.
And you go, blemish repair. Yeah, we had to change manufacturers with blemish repair, and I don't make blemish repair. That's a truth treatment. I don't make it. It's my formula, but I have a company that makes it. I can't make supplements. So here's the deal with blemish repair. We had to change suppliers. Whenever you have to change suppliers, you got to make sure you got to dot every I and cross every T. It is a very complicated process. And so it's taken a few months to do it. I think we've been at it for like 4 months or something like that. And that's just the nature of change. Our old supplier went out of business, and we didn't have, it was a sudden thing. We didn't have time to find anybody. It took research. We had to go visit the places, and it was a big to do. It should be out by the end of February. I think in the middle of the end of February is what we're hoping for. That's what we're shooting for. It should somewhere in there. Thanks for asking that, Elizabeth.
Renee, are you saying you sent me a picture? Renee, I don't see it. This is the formula of the Stay Balanced, just in case you were interested.
Okay, this is I see. So, okay, I can see that. So here, Yohimbe, you know what Yohimbe is?
It's a root from
Africa, from the mother country. And it's a pick-me-up, we'll say. We'll call it that. It's a well-known pick-me-up. Fenugreek is very important for insulin and also for testosterone. Spirulina is one of the most awesome foods known to man. Tribulus helps maintain testosterone. Oat straw has aphrodisiac properties. So does Damiana.
Now, is oat straw oats?
Oat straw, Avena sativa.
Is it
that has aphrodisiac properties, as does Damiana. And then arginine is for male performance, blood supply. Maca is like a pick-me-up kind of thing. Ginkgo is an adaptogen, it's good for everything. And then
you're not an herbalist.
Oh, I know quite a bit about herbs, but I wouldn't call myself an herbalist.
Wow.
No, I know quite a bit about herbs. I had an herbal pharmacy for a long time.
Wow.
Where I actually had bottles of tinctures of glycerides and oils and tinctures in big glass bottles, and I would actually just make my own or dispense herbal formulas for people from stuff that me and a friend, my girlfriend at the time was a big time herbalist, and she would pick them and we would tincture them, and that's how my first pharmacy was like that. So I do know quite a bit about, as they say, pharmacognosy, which is the pharmaceutical properties of herbs, but I would not call myself an herbalist at all.
Well, Pharmacist Ben, I was looking at a video on Tom Chenault's YouTube page.
Yeah.
And it was you.
Yeah.
From.
Oh my God.
25 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Pre Tangy Tangerine.
It was Tangy Tangerine.
I don't even think Tangy Tangerine was out yet.
It was when I first started. Where did you see? It's on his website?
saw it on YouTube. He has it on YouTube. You were
Oh,
you were buff, number one, and you were giving this speech, and you were talking to people, and it was like a classroom, and it was, and I'm listening to it, and it sounded like you were talking today. Nothing changed. Everything that you were saying 25 years ago, or whenever this was,
I know.
And I was like, wow. Like, talk about Mr. Consistency.
Because it's true. It's true. There's this thing that's out there. I did a tape called The 7 Strategies for Healthy Living, like in like 1999 or something. And it's still out there and people are still listening to it. And I was visiting a esthetician in New York when I was seeing my mom. And her assistant was like, "Are you the guy who did 7 Strategies for Healthy Living?" She had nothing to do with longevity. It's just out there. And it's exactly the same stuff. I haven't changed. It hasn't changed. It's just the same stuff. I didn't know the triangle. The triangle was something I developed later on. So I didn't talk about the triangle, but I'm sure I talked about digestion and blood sugar, and the 8 chapters of good nutrition and spirituality, because it's all the same. I've been doing this. I didn't just roll off the turnip truck, and fall into this.
Because I was looking at that whole crew. It was you. I mean, I saw, Tom shared a few pictures. I was looking at that whole crew. It was you and Cheryl and some other people who I don't know, and it seemed like you guys were like cool. It was like a cool crew of people.
Those were the glory days. We first started. The company first started.
I'm like, what would make a 30-year-old? I'm guessing you were about in the 30s.
I was 38 when I met Wallach, or 37 when I met him.
What would make somebody that aware? Like, you guys were very aware.
Well, I learned it in pharmacy school. I smelt a rat in pharmacy school, and I was lifting weights, and I was an athlete. I knew what I was doing for working out, so I just extrapolated it out. And that's funny. I was lifting. I was 37 years old. Now I'm 66 years old.
And nobody's gonna believe that. You should tell them again.
Yeah. It is what it is. There ain't no getting around it. I'm not happy about it. Let me tell you. But it is what it is.
What are your thoughts on mainstream media?
I think that's MSM.
I was joking.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. In fact, I've been meaning to talk about sulfur for a while. We should talk about it the next time, or maybe Friday.
I have a client that feeds his father sulfur in isolation.
Is that straight sulfur?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean.
A pack of sulfur. He's got the 90, but he's like,
MSM that's the kind of sulfur you want is MSM.
Yeah, that's what I kind of
MSM think. Is non-toxic sulfur. You can take as much as you want. Sulfur is, what the other name for sulfur is? Brimstone. You know where brimstone where brimstone represents? Hell. Sulfur is hellfire. It's fire. Brimstone. You ever hear fire and brimstone, right? You've heard that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sulfur is associated with hell. It's fire. It's hot. It's powerful. It's associated with volcanoes. I mean, it's a kick butt element. MSM, however, takes the power of sulfur and makes it non-toxic. So MSM is a very, very valuable form of sulfur.
I need to have that conversation with this client.
Yeah, it's incredibly important. Sulfur is incredibly important, but the way to get it is MSM. And also through foods, protein foods, high protein foods, and high protein foods. Beans if you're going to do vegetarian foods. All the vegetarian foods that are high protein tend to be high sulfur too. Sulfur and protein go hand in hand.
Last question. And what I was planning to do before we got these questions today is I really need you to help me debunk a bunch of things that I see on Facebook. We're not going to go through it today, but I do have one that I'd like to ask you about.
Yeah.
There's a vegan woman who talks about, and I think she's on to something, but she looks a little too skinny for my taste.
Okay.
But she talks about the fact that we don't need protein, and all this talk about limiting carbs is nonsense. She says, I eat all these carbs.
What kind of carbs does she eat? Not all carbs are the same.
She's eating vegetables.
Vegetable carbs are the way you want to get your carbs.
I don't see her eating a lot of pasta. I don't
Yeah.
know what she.
The seeds. The problem is what makes a vegetable different from a fruit?
The sugar.
Not quite, but yes, the sugar's involved. But there's sugar in vegetables too. But what is the main difference? Let me ask you this: technically speaking, is a cucumber a vegetable or fruit?
Well, I guess the way you phrase that, I'm guessing it's a fruit.
I know
avocado is a fruit, apparently.
Avocado is a fruit. Why? What makes them fruits as opposed to vegetables?
You said seed earlier.
Seeds. What you got to be careful of is the seeds. The classic seeds are grains, grass seeds. Okay? But all seeds are problematic. Why?
Even hemp seeds, because they turn to oil.
Because they
can go rancid?
Not quite. It's because they don't go rancid. See, nature loves seeds. Nature protects its seeds. Nature does not want you messing with its seeds because its seeds are how it grows. So if you eat the seeds, you're going to deprive nature of the ability to grow. So nature has equipped seeds with protective elements, protective molecules, inhibitors that keep the seed from growing. They call their growth inhibitors, suppressants. And these growth inhibitors and these suppressants can wreak havoc on human metabolism, on all metabolism. There's also defense molecules. In addition to suppressants, there's also defense molecules in seeds. So nature doesn't want its seeds growing until it's ready to grow, and it doesn't want enemies eating its seeds. So there's defense molecules. Between the enzyme inhibitors, the growth inhibitors, and the defense molecules, eating seeds can wreak havoc on the body. And it turns out that the fruits that have seeds tend to also have a lot of sugar in them. So fruits are distinct from vegetables when it comes to carbs. Vegetables are a much safer bet, although in a vegetable, the medicine is not concentrated in the seed. It's concentrated in the entire, it's not concentrated, it's dispersed in the entire vegetable. So if you're going to have a problem with a defense molecule in a seed, in a fruit, there are some vegetables where you have a problem with the entire vegetable. For example, nightshades. Those are notoriously problematic, the nightshades. Vegetables don't have seeds. That's how you distinguish a vegetable. Somebody's asking, Mark's asking about which vegetables have no seeds. No vegetable has seeds. That's what makes something a vegetable. The active chemistry is dispersed in the entire plant, in the entire. I don't know what a vegetable is, like an extension of a plant. I forgot what it is. A fruit is an ovary. Do you know a fruit's an ovary?
Didn't know that. A
fruit is an ovary, a womb. Not a womb, but an ovary. It makes seeds. The seeds are the baby. And so that's what a fruit is. A vegetable is something different. I don't know enough about botany to tell you what a vegetable is, but it's something different. Vegetables are different. So when that lady talks about carbs, yes, vegetables, not seeds. The worst kind of seeds are the ones that are super cultivated, which are grains. And on top of that, they spray them with all kinds of ungodly chemicals. So between the glyphosate and the pesticides and the enzyme inhibitors and the defense molecules and the GMOs and then on top of everything else, when you break a seed up, you release its sugars and you expose its fats. And so ground up flour is one of the worst foods a human being can eat. Now, if you're doing it fresh and you're cooking fresh, and it's freshly grown, all that, and it's clean, that's different. But the way flour is grown or made today is one of the worst foods you could possibly ingest. Anything with flour. Anything with flour. There's no upside to that. So beans are a seed. Somebody's asking. Beans are actually a seed of the bean plant. The bean itself is not a vegetable, it's a seed. For Penny and Newman. I hope that explains that. Okay, so are we, anything else? Any other questions?
Well, of course, we can go all night, but I'm going to let you go.
All right, buddy.
I really appreciate you
Thank
spending
you.
time with us. And
I want to talk about sulfate sometime soon.
well, thank you for that. Now I need to make sure I talk to my client and make sure that he gets his dad off of the packaged sulfur that he's been feeding him.
What's that?
I got to make sure my client gets his dad off.
Oh yeah, the MSM. Whoever's asking the question about beans are seeds. They're not a vegetable. They're a seed of a fruit. They're of the bean plant.
That's our friend Penny.
Penny. Hi, Penny.
Yeah. Well, Pharmacist Ben, we'll see you Friday.
I'm so excited I can hardly wait.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to The Explainer. This is where we take really big, sometimes complicated ideas and, well, we break them down into frameworks you can actually use.
So today, we're going to unpack something really interesting. It's Pharmacist Ben Fuchs' whole philosophy on why we get sick, and more importantly, his unified strategy for health. We're going to start with a frustration I think a lot of us share, then we'll travel upstream to what he says are the real root causes, and finally, we'll look at his big picture solution. All right, let's dive right in. And we're going to start with a feeling that, well, it's something a lot of us know all too well. It's that feeling of being caught in a frustrating cycle, especially if you're dealing with a chronic health issue. You know the drill, right? You're bouncing from one specialist to the next, just trying to get some answers. I mean, it seems like the logical thing to do, doesn't it? You've got an issue with a specific part of your body, so you go see the doctor who specializes in exactly that part. But here's where Pharmacist Ben Fuchs throws a wrench in the works. He asks a really critical question. What if this super-focused approach, this laser focus, is actually making us miss the bigger picture entirely? So, an eye problem? Off you go to the ophthalmologist. A heart issue, and bam, you're seeing a cardiologist. And, a skin thing pops up, so it's a visit to the dermatologist. And look, each of these experts is doing their job, right? They're diligently tackling their one specific piece of the puzzle. But here's the kicker. According to Fuchs, this whole fragmented approach, it completely misses the point. He argues that all of these separate, diverse symptoms, from your kidneys to your skin to whatever else, they aren't separate problems at all. They're just different branches on the same dying tree. They're all signs of one single systemic issue that he, pretty bluntly, calls MBFA disease, or my body is falling apart disease. Okay, so if chasing down each individual symptom isn't the answer, then what is? Well, this is where Fuchs says we need to adopt a totally new first principle. And this right here, this is his core idea. He says, where you see the problem is not where the problem begins. The symptom you're looking at is just a signal. The real cause, that's located upstream. So what does he actually mean by going upstream? Well, it's pretty simple, really. It means you have to trace that symptom, whatever it is, all the way back to its true origin. And Fuchs argues that this journey, it almost always leads you back to the body's main operating systems, your digestion and your metabolism. But he's really clear on one point. The digestive system, it's not just another part to look at. He says it is the root system. It's the soil that your entire health grows out of. Okay, so let's actually follow that stream, right? Let's go upstream. The first major system we hit is the blood. And according to Fuchs, the blood can become, well, a literal highway for toxicity. His claim is this: all disease is cell disease. It all starts at the cellular level. And why do cells get sick? Because of what the blood delivers to them. Or, just as important, what it fails to deliver. So Fuchs points a finger at two main culprits that make our blood dirty, as he calls it. First up, you've got a compromised gut. You've probably heard the term leaky gut, and that's when stuff that's supposed to stay in your digestive system leaks out into your bloodstream. Not good. And the second big one? High blood sugar. He says sugar acts like a toxin that literally makes your blood thick and sludgy, and that sludgy blood is a major driver of inflammation all over the body. And this is where a really dangerous chain reaction kicks off. This toxic, sludgy blood, it just can't do its job right. It can't deliver oxygen and nutrients the way it's supposed to. So what happens? Your organs start to get starved, and at the same time, they're getting poisoned. And that just leads to this massive cascade of problems everywhere in the body. This brings us to a really powerful analogy he uses. Fuchs calls our circulatory system the railroad of toxicity. Just picture it. This dirty, sludgy blood is like a train chugging through your entire body, and it's making stops at every single station, the heart, the brain, the skin, you name it, and at every single stop, it's dropping off a little toxic package.
Okay, so we've talked about the blood, but if we go even further upstream, there's another absolutely critical area, the very structure that literally holds our body together. We're talking about connective tissue. And this is where he really flips the script on how we think about aging. He takes all these common conditions and reframes them as just a breakdown of this one thing, connective tissue. I mean, think about this for a second. Glaucoma? He says that's not just an eye problem, it's osteoporosis of the eye. Wrinkles on your skin? That's osteoporosis of the skin. All of a sudden, you see it's all pointing back to the same fundamental mechanism.
And the way he describes his connective tissue it's just incredible. It's not just some boring, passive scaffolding holding you up. No, he calls it the goo and the glue of the body. It's the jello mold that gives your organs their shape and holds them in place. And get this, he even calls it the womb for every single cell, the very matrix that nurtures them.
This all leads him to coin this amazing and kind of funny term for what we see as aging. He calls it blobification. You know, that sagging, that loss of firmness and structure that we all notice over time? He says at its core, that's just blobification. It's the physical sign that our vital connective tissue is breaking down.
Okay, so if the big root problems are dirty blood and deteriorating connective tissue, what do we do about it? What's the solution? Well, Fuchs proposes a unified strategy that goes right after these root causes. So you can forget the old idea of a specific pill for a specific ill. His solution is a multi-pronged approach that's all about restoring the body's foundation. It means you stop chasing symptoms and you start focusing on the real stuff. You focus on fixing the gut to clean up the blood at the source. You work on controlling your blood sugar to get rid of that toxic sludge. You use strategic supplements to literally rebuild that connective tissue. You improve oxygenation, and that can be as simple as deep breathing. And finally, you help your entire system detoxify itself. And this, right here, really captures that fundamental shift in thinking. The standard medical model often feels like you're just treating the rotten fruit on the tree. You're focused on the symptom. This systemic model, it's about ignoring the fruit for a second, getting down on your hands and knees, and focusing all of your energy on nourishing the roots of the tree. And that really is the crucial takeaway from all this. Once you start to understand these upstream mechanisms, your whole role can shift. You go from being a passive patient, just receiving treatments, to becoming an active, empowered participant in your own health story.
So ultimately, this whole framework challenges us to ask a new question. What if that problem you're dealing with isn't the problem at all? What if it's just a signal, a message from your body inviting you to look deeper, to go upstream, and to finally find the true underlying cause?